rise to speak to my amendment 29A. Now, it's not often I feel daunted in speaking out on legislation in your Lordship's House, but I do feel a slight nervousness when a lot of senior police officers, former judges and KCs actually start...
Most of them have gone.
Oh yeah, luckily most of them have gone. I know, so I don't really need to be nervous at all. And often, in putting my views, or the Green Party's views, which obviously overlap quite a lot, I do feel that I'm speaking, as it were, from the street, and that I talk to a lot of people who probably don't know much about this sort of thing, so they probably agree with me on some of it. However, this amendment, and on the issue of simpler legislation, I know for a fact that the Met Police would like simpler legislation on all around protests. They are absolutely sick of the confusion, and it's time that we should revisit it. However, that's not for today. So 29A makes a simple but important change, and that is that it requires courts to consider the use of a community order before imposing a suspended sentence order. This strengthens the government's own intention to reduce the overuse of short prison sentences, and an aim that I and many across this House, I'm sure the Noble Lord the Minister, warmly welcome. But unless we make it clear that community orders must be properly considered first, we risk creating what justice organisations call a net widening effect. In other words, people who should have received a community order may instead receive a suspended sentence order simply because it appears to be a tougher alternative to custody. A suspended sentence order is still a custodial sentence. It carries the weight and the lifelong consequences of a criminal record, and it places people at far greater risk of imprisonment if they breach its terms. By contrast, a community order is a genuinely non-custodial disposal. It's designed, when properly resourced, to address the underlying causes of offending, whether these are mental health needs, alcohol or drug dependency, or others. Community orders enable people to keep their jobs, maintain their homes, stay connected to their families and communities, and continue caring responsibilities. All factors that are well established as reducing the risk of reoffending. If the aim of this bill is to reduce the crisis in prison capacity, then we must avoid funneling people into suspended sentences where a community order would be more effective and safely promote rehabilitation. Otherwise, we simply increase the pipeline into custody through breach, defeating the very purpose of the government's reforms. We also risk the danger that this disproportionately affects women as it currently stands, which we have heard from Noble Lady Baroness Hamway. Now, this amendment is supported by Justice and is aligned with the recommendations of the Independent Sentencing Review, which suggested introducing crime reduction as an overarching principle to guide sentencing. Community sentences can play a crucial role in achieving that. They provide a real opportunity for rehabilitation and practical programs that help people rebuild their lives without the barrier of a custodial sentence on their record. And crucially, community orders can command public confidence when victims are properly informed about what they involve and that victims understand how these sentences can reduce future harm. So Amendment 29A simply ensures that the most proportionate, most effective and least harmful sentence is considered first. It strengthens the bill's stated ambition of reducing pressure on prisons while supporting better outcomes for individuals and communities. I do hope that the Noble Lord the Minister sees this as a constructive amendment and one that aligns with the government's own agenda, and I urge the House to give it serious consideration. Do I beg to move as well? Or I don't bother?